关于近期不断出现的环保与人性之间的矛盾与争议，马斯克认为现在的环保主义走得有点太远了。关于移民问题，马斯克认为呢，移民这个事儿是正常的。
Yes, so said for me, I think I am objectively one of the world's leading environmentalists in terms of doing things.
I would say so.
Like I'm an environmentalist who does things. I'm of action, not talk. I act. So I feel I can say as an environmentalist that the environmentalist movement has gone too far. And in that, in the natural extension of the environmentalist movement, if you go too far, you start to look at humanity as a bad thing. You start to look at humanity as though we are a plague on the surface of the earth, as though humanity is a bad thing. And in fact, there are some people who think and say explicitly that, in fact, there was on the front page of the New York Times, there was a guy who said, there are 8 billion people on Earth. It would be better if there were none, which is crazy.
Definitely. So, you told me you told me once a joke about the cows and the problem with the cows. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, don't worry about the cows. The cows are fine. Cows are not going to destroy the environment. Cows are fine. Yes.
We have a lot of laws, European laws against all the people who work with them. It's a big issue for us because it seems green issue, but it's a very industrial issue for us.
Yeah, I think farming and cows do not have any meaningful effect on the environment.
Yes, underline, please.
Yes, objectively, this is true. So if you say like, there's really only one thing that matters from an environmental standpoint for carbon, which is that we are taking billions, eventually trillions of tons of carbon from very deep under the earth and transferring it to the atmosphere and oceans. That's actually really all that matters, is taking vast amounts of carbon from underground where it's buried and moving it into the atmosphere by burning it. And if you do that for long enough, eventually you will get climate change. Now, I think the climate change alarm is somewhat overblown in the short term. It's still a concern in the long term, but I think it's exaggerated in the short term.
Great.
Now, I'm trying to thread the needle here between what is pragmatic and what is sensible, what really matters and what doesn't matter. What really matters is that over the long term, over the course of the next several decades, that we gradually reduce how many millions and billions of tons of carbon that we move from underground to the atmosphere, because we're running sort of a climate experiment that is dangerous. But I also don't think I think of it as a fundamental civilizational risk. It's not going to destroy life on Earth. It's not going to destroy humanity, but it will create hardship if you change the climate over many decades. So I think my message is I think much more pragmatic and I think correct and sensible. And I don't think we should demonize oil and gas. I think we should say, look, that is obviously necessary in the short term and the medium term too, and it'll take several decades to become sustainable. So I think if we just, without getting too worried about it, seek to have a sustainable energy future gradually, then that's what will happen. And so, but I think that some of the environmentalist movement is part of what is causing people to lose hope in the future. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we should have hope in the future. We should be excited about the future, and we should build the future we want.
What about, you call it the woke mind? Yes, it's the name you gave to that.
Woke mind
that
virus.
illness, woke mind illness. What's that virus?
Yeah, so
it's coming to Europe. I have to advise you, huh?
Yes, well, this is not something you should import from America. Please don't import the woke mind virus. It's bad. So essentially that. To summarize maybe the woke mind virus, it consists of creating very divisive identity politics. So it actually amplifies, woke mind virus, in my view, amplifies racism, amplifies, frankly, sexism, and all the isms. And while claiming to do the opposite, it actually divides people and makes them sort of hate each other, and it makes people hate themselves. And it's also anti-meritocratic. It's not merit-based. So you want to have people succeed based on how hard they work and the talents, not who they are, whether they're man, woman, what race or gender, that stuff is all it's an artificial mental civil war that is created. And it's not, and let me say, it's no fun. Okay. It is like woke mind virus and fun are incompatible. There's no fun in that. No joy. Woke mind virus is all about condemning people instead of celebrating people. Like when in the woke, it just doesn't celebrate. It's all about condemning and being divisive and being just, I think it's just evil, frankly.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of problems saying so on your social in X or have this point of view. You were a good friend of Obama administration, and now they don't really like you so much for this kind of speech you do in public, or not?
I don't know. I'm very pro-human. I'm very pro-civilization. I'm in favor of humanity and our collective consciousness expanding on Earth and going beyond Earth, being a multi-planet species, a spacefaring civilization, and being out there among the stars and finding out the nature of the universe. Like all the things that seems like to me an exciting thing, something you can get really excited about. Is you can get excited, like we want to have ideas that make you look forward to waking up in the morning, look forward to the day, look forward to the future. And so you have to say, what excites you about the future? What moves your heart about the future? What makes you say like, yes, I'm glad about what will happen in the future? That's what we must focus on. And that's why we have to have a new generation. We've got to build and we've got to grow. And like I said, we understand the nature of this beautiful universe that we find ourselves in and the meaning of life, or even what questions to ask about the meaning of life. Let us explore this wondrous creation and have a good time doing it. That's my philosophy.
Let me go back for a little, because I want to ask you about your perception of Europe as a building, not as people. Because Europe does want a lot of integration of cultures, different cultures, and has different approach to the immigration. We heard Meloni did a lot on that with Premier Rama, I see, in the first line of Albania. What do you think about this approach of Europe approach as building, I would say, as an established building?
Well, I should say, like, to be clear on immigration overall, I'm very much in favor of legal immigration. I think that generally, I think one should welcome to a country anyone who is willing to work hard and is honest, has high integrity, and will add to any given country. If somebody is an asset to the country, why not have them join? That's sure. Obviously a great thing to do. So I think it's good actually to have an increase in legal immigration and
legal with paper, with
just some approval process, sure. But with a simple requirement that, look, if somebody is going to add to a country, like just really hardworking and high integrity, let them in. I think that's great. But if it's illegal immigration and there's no filter, well, how do you know who's coming in? You don't know. So you have to have some basis for saying somebody should come in or not come in. And my argument is, like, it should be a very simple basis. Will they add to the country? Will they be a productive part of the economy? And do they admire the culture? Do they want to join because of the culture? Then that's great. But if there's no process for that, then you don't know. I think at least some number of the people that come in will not necessarily, and I want to be careful because my words will be misconstrued. I'm not saying all illegal immigrants are, I think probably, perhaps most of them are good. But there will be some, if there's no process for reviewing, not at all, then how can you say that everyone who is an illegal immigrant is going to be honest and hardworking? You can't say that because you simply don't know. So I want to be clear. Top line, pro-immigration, but let's increase legal immigration, but we should stop illegal immigration. I think this is just logical.
You have a